Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my channel, Traveling with Jose. I'm Jose, and for today's video, we're going to be talking about things to not do when you're stationed in Japan. So if you didn't know, I was actually stationed in Japan for 4 years. So, I got to go about my days in Japan when I wasn't on base. It was my dream to actually live in Japan, so of course when I was there I lived it to the fullest. I have so many experiences and I learned a lot while I was there. YouTube didn't prepare me for everything because when I was in high school I would always watch J vloggers and see what they did or the do's and don'ts of living in Japan. These are lessons that I actually learned firsthand, and hopefully they can help you. Don't walk into fitting rooms with your shoes on. This first one actually happened to me when I was at a store in Japan. I was in Uniqlo. Guess what? I walk in with my shoes on. So you are 100% not supposed to do that. So actually I closed the curtain and whoever was working there opened it back up, told me in English, hey, you can't walk in here with your shoes on. And I was like, oh my god, I had no idea. So of course I took off my shoes and then I went on in again. This is actually for any fitting room in Japan. So I've been to many other stores and same thing, I always had to take off my shoes. It's crazy because I was expecting, of course, at home, no shoes, somebody's workplace, maybe, no shoes, but fitting rooms never crossed my mind. Don't be loud on trains. This one for sure, until you actually experience it for yourself, you understand. So after a long day, people on trains, they want quiet, they want peace, they want to maybe sleep on the train. So if someone's talking on the phone or if you're talking to your friend too loudly, it's gonna disturb the people around you. In Japan, it's not about the individual, it's about the whole group. So you have to think about what you're doing in a social setting, even if it's just a train. If you're being too loud, you're disturbing somebody. You're making a fool of yourself if you are being too loud. And I've seen it myself. The people that I was with were too loud, or I saw in other people when they were in big groups, they were just too loud, and you can tell, you can feel the tension because these trains were too loud. So if you're gonna be in a train in Japan, just put in your headphones and in no time you'll be at your next destination. In Japan, you actually don't tip. So this next one, being from America, is such a relief. Seriously, tipping in America is annoying. It was annoying before I went to Japan, and now that I'm back to America, it's even more annoying. And I get it, I understand, these people have to make their money, they're doing a service, but in Japan, I didn't have to tip. They would do their job and they would do it to 120%. It's not like in America where you get some so-so waiters and that makes or breaks your experience, right? But at the end of that meal, you have to tip a lot if they made your experience. But in Japan, none of that. They will give you 120% every single time. Even if you try to leave a tip behind, they will not accept it. They will probably get confused and think that you actually left your money behind. So if you're a sailor and you're on base, actually you do tip. I know that sounds weird, but yes, let's say you go cut your hair, you do tip. For girls, there are places where you can get your nails done. You would tip for them. At the grocery store that we do have on base, we have people that are working there. They're bagging up all your things. You do tip them as well. If you're on base, for the most part, you will tip. And if you're off base in Japan, you do not have to tip at all. So another thing that I experienced while in Japan was waiting in line. Waiting in very, very long lines. To this tip, I will tell you, do not cut these lines. Just like anybody else, wait in these lines. Don't cut in line, okay? It's rude. People have been waiting. What if somebody did that to you? You wouldn't feel good, right? Waiting in line in Japan is just a common thing for them. I don't think Japanese people cut in line. I've never seen it happen. I've seen foreigners cut in line. So just don't be rude. Just wait your turn, just like everybody else. So of course you're in Japan and their utensils of choice are chopsticks. Of course, there are many rules of etiquette that come with using chopsticks, but this main one I'm going to tell you right now is don't place your chopsticks in your rice like this vertically. At funerals, they actually they have rice with chopsticks in them. So it reminds people of a funeral, of really bad times. So it's just rude to do that when you're out in public, when you're out eating. Being stationed in Japan and being stationed in Yokosuka, I was only an hour and a half away from Tokyo, and almost every week I was actually in Tokyo. But my piece of advice to you is don't just stay in Tokyo. So there's so many beautiful places in Japan, all the way from the north to the south, that you can go. Other cities, other ways of life in Japan. You see different things. It's just amazing all across the board, and it's so easy to get around in Japan. So don't just go to Tokyo. Here are some other places that you could go to instead of going to Tokyo. You can go to Osaka, Kyoto, Nara. I actually did a trip to this place called Tochigi, Matsumoto Castle in Nagoya. But yeah, so many other places, and even closer to base is actually Yokohama, which is another thriving, beautiful, clean city that you can go check out. Since you're down south and you're closer to the beaches, there's so much to do near Yokosuka that you don't have to actually go off all the way to Tokyo. So keep that in mind when you are stationed in Japan. So when you are actually going on your trips out and about in Japan, make sure you have cash on you. Don't leave home without cash, just because you'll find that there are many places that only use cash in Japan. Not everywhere in Japan uses just credit card or debit cards. They maybe only use cash, so always have cash on hand. I know there are so many times for me that this happened where I only had my cards with me, assuming that I wouldn't need cash, and I had to run to the ATM real quick to pull out cash. And it's easy as that, just because ATMs everywhere. If you go to 7-Eleven, Family Mart, all these places do have ATMs, so easy to get your money out. But if you want to save yourself some trouble, pull out some money beforehand. So this is actually a really big tip, and now I'm not hating on my American friends or people that I was stationed with in Japan. Don't just limit yourself to American friends. And what I mean by this is, on base, of course, all the people that you know are Americans, are stationed in Japan, are living in Japan with you at the same time. I would say go out there and try to make friends, whether it be Japanese people, whether it be foreigners from other countries. Make friends. They will teach you a lot of things that, of course, Americans won't teach you, just because they've been there longer than you have, or you know, they're from Japan and they have other places that they want to show you, things that, you know, aren't on the internet, or because they do speak Japanese, they will be able to translate for you or just help you out that much more. My closest friends right now are actually Japanese, and it's funny because it just so happens that right now we're all scattered. So I know one friend is in the Philippines, he's doing some studies, and then another friend, he's in Peru of all things. He's actually studying Spanish. So, you know, some of my best friends are traveling the world just like me. I definitely attribute my good experience in Japan to having friends that were not just American. So this tip goes for people that are stationed on base. Now, you know, you have to work on base, maybe you live on base, there's, you know, it's comfortable to be on base. My tip would be, don't stay in Yokosuka. So if you do have off time, like I said, travel all around Japan. I know a lot of people that lock themselves up in their room on base, and that's really, really sad. Another thing with staying in Yokosuka is we have this place called The Haunch right off base. You know, there's a lot of bars there, there's a lot of clubs there, hookah places. It's good nightlife, it really is. Some people just stay there and they don't experience other things. Now, I'm not saying that's all bad, but please just get out of Yokosuka. Don't get trapped there. You know, most of the people that I know that stayed in Yokosuka actually got in trouble because they partied too hard in The Haunch. And you'll definitely find out what I mean if you get stationed in Japan. So this next tip kind of goes along with what I was saying about staying in Yokosuka. There are places called chuhai stands, right? Okay, so they serve this drink called a chuhai, which is shochu and carbonated water with a type of flavoring. The thing about chuhais is that they're so dangerous. You can easily drink a lot of them and not feel like you're you know, getting drunk. And by the time they hit, it's just too late. My advice would be just drink your chuhais really slowly, because they are also cheap. So, you know, you can keep on drinking them, but just know your limit, okay? So if you're someone that's not too keen on actually leaving base and exploring Japan, or maybe you're just too timid to do it and don't know how to begin, we have a service on base called MWR, which MWR stands for Morale, Welfare and Recreation. So their job is to actually help you get out and explore, help you have a good time while you're in the Navy. Especially when you're new to the Navy, you go to them and let's say you want discount on fun things to do, activities that are in the area. I know I went to MWR every single week, Every single week they were setting me up with tours to go somewhere in Japan. And this is all over the world. MWR works at every single military base. So no matter if you're in the Army, Marines, if you're in the Navy, of course, you'll know about MWR. Definitely utilize them. I can't thank MWR enough for the good time that I also had in Japan. So actually they provide transportation, sometimes they provide food, and every single time they provide a tour guide. So in the fee that you pay, everything is pretty much included, and I'm telling you, it's at such a cheap price. I would pay, for the most part, every single time less than $30, and this would be all-day trips. So you get your money's worth with MWR, so take advantage. Don't get caught past curfew. If you're having fun in the haunch, if you're having fun in Tokyo, don't go back to base if it's past curfew. Your curfew, if you're by yourself, is 10 p.m. right? And if you are with people, it's 1 a.m. So if you get caught up on time past curfew and you're off base, go get a hotel somewhere. Don't go back to base. You will get in trouble. All right? Plan ahead. Don't let it happen to you. Just be aware what time it is. And even if it's just 1 minute, I swear to you, you will get in trouble. Okay? A curfew is a curfew. Now, you can actually be on base whatever time of night it is. Doesn't matter. You can be on base. You can be walking around doing your thing. Now, I know I said don't just go to Tokyo, but of course you have to do Tokyo while you're there, right? Don't get confused what Tokyo is. Of course, Tokyo is a city, but it's a city made up of different neighborhoods. Okay, I know when I first went to Japan, I was so confused at that. I took my friends the very first time we left to Tokyo Station because that's where I thought Tokyo was. I thought Tokyo was one little area. Tokyo is comprised of so many neighborhoods and so many cool different neighborhoods, okay? Let's just say you go to Tokyo, you can go to Shibuya, you can go to Roppongi. Now with that, Shibuya and Roppongi are the party spots. It's where it's at. It's where all the tourists go. That's where the Shibuya crossing is. That's where Hachiko, the dog statue, is at. That's where everybody congregates. So Shibuya, Roppongi, very popular with tourists. Now, I want to actually give you advice on other places that you can go in Tokyo. You can go to Shimokitazawa, Gotanda, Ebisu, Daikanyama, and another one that I really like is Yoyogi. So of course Yoyogi Park is there, and that's where they have their park. And it's a huge park, and you can just go have a picnic. There's always performers in Yoyogi Park. Definitely you'll have a good time if you visit those places. So this last one, guys, I'm going to talk about food in Japan. Japan, I know, is known for sushi, but Japan has so many other good foods out there. Just to name a few, they have curry, they have udon, of course they have ramen, and they have so many different ramen places. You will definitely learn about the different flavors of ramen when you're out there. You know, give everything a try when you're out there. But yes, you can have sushi, and there are amazing sushi places in Japan. I definitely put Japan at the top when it comes to food that I've eaten around the world. Even if you go somewhere cheap in Japan, the food will be of quality. So that was it for this video, the don'ts in Japan, especially if you're gonna be stationed there. I don't know if you have any more questions related to things about Japan. Whatever it is, go ahead and comment. I actually love making videos about Japan. Unfortunately, I'm not there anymore, but with all the information that I personally learned from first-hand experience, I can definitely help you guys out. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. It'll definitely help. But there are more videos to come, guys, so I really hope you subscribe if you haven't. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.